Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is March 3rd, 2025, and we are back with new knives, and it's a very exciting time. We don't have a sponsor today, but we do have an epic knife that you can win in the giveaway in the live, and it is this guy. We're going to talk more about this guy, but this has been asked for since before I was even at Blade HQ, so coming up on 7 years now, probably, since people started asking for the purple-bladed, or Mace Windu, if you will, Kalashnikov. And we'll talk about that because this one's extra special. So make sure you join us every Monday in the live at noon Mountain Standard Time, and maybe one of these days you could win a giveaway just like this one. Next up, we have knife news, and it has been a doozy. The Crucible auction is over, and I think I'm pretty happy with the results. So my understanding, I am not a lawyer, but I did try to read as many documents as I could, and special shout out to my buddy Rich, who has been doing a lot of the homework. I think he might work in the legal field in some variety because he had some really good insights. So the chief buyer was LionSteel in Paris. And what they purchased is the business as well as the intellectual property. So the Crucible name, all the CPM blade steels, their compositions. If you want Magna Cut now, it is going to be coming from LionSteel. However, this is the part that was most important because as sad as we are going to be about potentially losing our favorite blade steels, the big thing we were sad about is if this plant closed, there's going to be 150 Americans without jobs. But the good news is a brand new company called Loiter, L-A-U-T-E-R, I want to say it's pronounced Loiter, was incorporated like 2 weeks ago, and they have purchased the plant in Geddes, New York. So that includes the equipment, that includes the buildings, the facilities, and it sounds like they're going to be able to maintain most of the jobs from Crucible. And they've been working closely with the union in town to make sure that happens as well. And I think this is a win-win for everybody. The steels are still alive and well. They're owned by somebody who has respect for powder metallurgy, somebody who is actively involved in making high-speed tool steels, and the foundries, the actual plant, is going to remain operational as far as we can tell. So, yay. My perfect world has LionSteel contracting with Loiter to make all of the powder steels because they already have the equipment to do it. So hopefully we'll just see no hiccup at all. LionSteel will contract with people in New York to make the powder steels that we know and love under the brand of Crucible. That would be my perfect world. I have no idea if that's going to happen, but the future is looking bright for our favorite blade steels. So thanks for all your thoughts, prayers, and efforts on behalf of Crucible because I think they are paying off. Without further ado, let us talk new knives, starting with something that isn't a knife at all and is behind me. We can finally talk about this one today. This is the Worksharp Professional Precision Adjust Elite, which is a real mouthful, and it comes in this giant box. So I did assemble the sharpener. You do know this one. We've seen it before. It is the sharpener. Set your angle. You have your little bar here, and it will take a million different abrasives. And the Elite kit, which we'll set here and hopefully we can get in shot, has a lot going on for it. So in addition, the big news here is in addition to these guys, which were the original abrasives, which are plated diamonds, so a steel plate that has diamonds inlaid in it, you have all the grits, the hone, and the strop. However, there's a few extra things going on here. First of all, we have additional abrasives over here. So we have a 1200, a 2000, and a 3000 bit resin bonded diamond stones. And these are a bit different. Instead of having diamonds inlaid in a plate, these ones are emulsified in resin, and then they're caked on, so as it wears away, you'll still get to those smaller diamonds. These last a lot longer. They have a lot more consistent of a grain structure. They don't get tainted as easily. It's great. And then lastly is the strop, which gives you the other side of the leather this time. Try not to drop things. Also, I'm gonna put this away. This is hard to do. The leather strop is new this time, and that is because it has the grain side rather than the flesh side of the leather out, so it's gonna be a bit smoother, and it comes unloaded. I loaded this one up for the short we put out today, but this one is unloaded from the factory. So if you have a diamond emulsion you like, or you wanna do whatever you want to the leather strop, you can, instead of coming pre-loaded. Very exciting. This is a really, really awesome sharpener. Now, if you are like me, and a couple of years ago, you bought the regular one, I have news for you. You don't have to buy a whole new sharpener. You can just get the upgrade kit. It doesn't come with the case, but it does have all the new abrasives. Very exciting. Now, I'm going to move this stuff before we give Julian a heart attack. All right, so that is new. If you want the big kit, it will go for $399.95, and if you just want the upgrade kit, it is $119.95. Next up, on the knife front, we have the Bestechman Angry Owl from my friend Keanu Alfaro. And this one definitely feels like a Keanu design. Like you hold it and you're like, yeah, this kind of has good boy vibes going for it. But what I really appreciate about this is instead of a button lock, this one is a button actuated liner lock. So if you look in here, you might be able to see it. You can see how the liner is visible there, but you just push the button and it actuates the liner. And that is very much near the middle of the blade. So I wouldn't quite call it a top liner lock. And honestly, the term liner lock feels a little restrictive. Like it definitely has more going on to it. It gives you all the detent that you want out of a nice liner lock, and it has a nice crisp lock up as well, and super smooth, easy, and safe operation. We also have a thumb hole opener, a D2 blade steel, and one thing I love about Keanu designs is this guy right here. As you come up towards the tip, instead of having a distal taper or something, you have almost like a Tanto style grind where you get a secondary flat near the tip. And what that does, it gives you a lot of tip strength. But we still have a nice broad area of flat grind, for good slicing performance. A well-rounded knife, very nicely done Keanu. This one comes in so many colors, by the way. I grabbed purple because we kind of have a purple theme going on today, but these are exciting. And I love the price on them. $53.90 gets you an Angry Owl. And I'm hoping to see a whole lot more from Keanu Alfaro in the future. Next up, Benchmade, we have the Barrage, and this one is back, and I think it's better than ever. We still have an S30V blade, but we have this, I think they're calling it purple something, I forget. It's a rich light, so a rich light is like a paper micarta, so paper that's been soaked into resin and compressed. It gives you a nice, almost wood-like feel, but it's very resilient. In fact, rich light is replacing a lot of ebony on guitar fingerboards, because it gives you a lot of the same performance, but it's a lot cheaper and a lot more sustainable, and it is not susceptible to moisture nearly as much. But other than that, we have full steel liners and an axis assist. So this is an assisted knife. So you do not push a button, there's nothing to do. You push the lock, you kick that, and it flies open like an auto. Secondary lock for safety, a great tactical choice, especially if you live in one of those states that do not permit a true auto. Benchmade has a lot of autos for you, though, if you are into that sort of thing. Keep it at Benchmade, we have the show special of the Mini Freek. So the show specials, I believe this is one, is when a brand like Blade HQ will visit the Benchmade booth at SHOT Show, and they will say, we have a special SHOT Show thing. If you come and visit us, you can order these for your website, and we did just that. And what I love about that is you can get a lot of very interesting knives and colorways that might not be the most popular thing in the world, but you'll get a little run of them with this guy. And this one, we have a purple blade and an Ultim handle. It is quite the statement of a knife. I can't say this is my favorite colorway in the world, but I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there who love it. And if there are, I would recommend buying them sooner than later because, as mentioned earlier, these are a limited edition. These are going for $300 even. Next up, by popular demand, the purple Sabre, we're calling it Kalashnikov. And this one is a little special for a few reasons. Well, first of all, first purple blade on a Kalashnikov for all of you Star Wars fans out there and all you Samuel L. Jackson fans out there. We've got the Mace Windu here. The colorway definitely matches the same vibe as well, but this is the big thing for me, and I think this is the biggest groundbreaking thing on the Kalashnikov series, is up until now, every Kalashnikov has had a cast aluminum handle. And that helps keep the price down. It's less time on a machine, less wasted material, and then they painted it. However, with this guy, this is milled, and if you look real in closer, you can see where the tooling hits it. So milling is how all of the most premium autos in the world make their aluminum. That's how Microtechs are made, Protex, Hogues, etc. And we have that on a Kalashnikov now, and I love that they didn't polish it down too much. You have just enough grip from the tooling left there. And it gives it a nice premium feel. It's smoother than most Kalashnikovs, and I want to say it's raw and anodized here. I could be wrong on that. This might be painted as well. I'm not certain. But it's really awesome. We have a nice gold pocket clip, the mini pocket clip that's new on some Kalashnikovs. It's a lot of fun. It is a little bit pricier because of that handle. We have a D2 blade, goes for $89.95. But I'm very excited about this one. Well done, Boker. And that's one of my favorite relationships at Blade HQ is if we have a fun idea for a Kalashnikov, Boker is always there to help us out. Next up from Petrified Fish, we have the Viper. And this one is a slicing king. Look at how much of a deep belly this has. A nice, broad, tall, flat grind. This thing will glide through food, through paper, through packaging. Honestly, if you were using this as a hunting knife, I think this would be an excellent skinner just because of how deep that belly goes. A nice crossbar lock, smooth action. And I will tell you, now is the time to be into budget knives because I remember a time not so long ago that something like this, which I believe has a D2 blade, or K110, which is the Bowler equivalent of D2, and a crossbar lock, this sort of thing would cost you $100 50 years ago. But now you can get it for $47.69 at bladehq.com, and it's real nice. Very exciting. G10 handle on this guy and a reversible wire pocket clip. So all you lefties out there can rejoice. Very exciting. Petrified fish, keeping it with petrified fish, I should say. We have this guy. This is the Tunny. And this one just feels like a knife that wants to go to work. And it's big, it's got a D2 blade. It has a fuller in the middle that also works for flicking if you like to flick your knife, but also big old flipper tab. Honestly, an oversized flipper tab. Like, see how it kind of sticks out there quite a bit? And I think this is a knife that really wants to be used with gloves. A very large, generous handle. If you got big hands and you're in gloves, you can really stretch out there. Like, I can almost fit 2 extra fingers on there. A nice long blade that just wants to go to work. This is awesome. Very exciting. This one also goes for $47.69. So if you wanted a beater, something you can beat the tar out of and not have to worry too much about, is easily replaced, then I might point you to the Tunny. Next up from LionSteel, we have a very premium folder with the Q4ttro, which is spelled Q4ttro. So I don't know where the name comes from, but it is quite something. First of all, look at all this milling on here. Every little surface, the pocket clip, the spine, the backspacer, all of them have just the right amount of milling to give you texture and remind you of how much craftsmanship went into the knife, but not so much that it's going to chew up your pocket. And then in classic LionSteel fashion, we have a removable flipper tab for all you European folks out there who may not be able to use one. But we also have a front flipper, very exciting, and a crowned spine. This thing is just a marvel of engineering. Its blade steel is MagnaCut. I know that some of their stuff is moving to M390 because of the crucible situation, but this one managed to sneak in with MagnaCut. And this one has the carbon fiber inlay. However, there's some with full G10 show scales, some with full carbon fiber show scales, but my personal favorite is the titanium with the inlays. The cheapest version of this goes for $214.99, and if you want one like this guy that has the carbon fiber and the titanium, that'll go for $269.99. And the last knife on the table is this guy. This is the this is the Tops Knives Ginunting. Now, for all of you martial arts nerds out there, the Ginunting is a traditional Filipino martial arts blade. It is borderline sword with a nice forward curve and an absolutely needle-like tip. And Tops made this, and I think this is just a love letter to the traditional, iconic tactical blade. And it is so much fun. Like, I hold it in here and I have these lights right here and I just want to go hack these lights down. This thing just wants to be swung. 1095 blade, nice and thick. I want to say a 1/4 inch, and a micarta handle that is really quite big. If you wanted to get 2 hands on here, you probably could. But you can choke back for extra chopping power. You can choke up for a little more control. Whatever you want to do, it's awesome. And it comes with a very nice Kydex sheath. So you just slide it on in there, snap it in, a pull the dot snap, and you are ready to rock and roll with a dangler attachment. This thing's awesome, and it has been mocking me ever since I saw it at SHOT Show. This is such a cool blade. It is a little bit pricey, $320, $319.95, but it's awesome. Anyway, that is all the knives we have on the table today. Make sure to join us in the live next week to get in on the giveaway, and make sure to subscribe to Blade HQ if you want to learn more about knives. We're coming to you every Monday with a live like this. We talk about some of the new knives of the week, some of the knife news going on, and we also put out a lot of other videos and shorts, all teaching you about the best and brightest in sharp and pointy. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next time.